great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, well, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Sherry. She's in the building. She'll be talking about the Undivided Woman. We'll figure out what that's about. What's going on, Sherry? How are you doing?
I am so grateful and thankful and honored to be here. It's very exciting. I love talking about all of those things that you said, inspiring, encouraging, business, the undivided woman, all of it.
Thank you for being here. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in and allowing us and welcome us into your home, or maybe onto your computer, or maybe into your ears. However you're listening to this or watching this, we appreciate you. Before we get started, we'll just address the elephant in the room, because many of you, you'll read Sherry's bio. You'll see how famous she is, and I'll let her talk about how famous she is in a moment. But you're probably wondering, Shay, ask her the question, what in the LL Cool J is an undivided woman? And more importantly, she can handle two questions. How does a woman know when she's become divided in herself? Fair question, I think. Talk to us.
Perfect questions. And I have to say, Shay, unfortunately, it does not apply to you, because it is, I'm addressing women.
That's fine.
But that's fine. The undivided woman is the woman who no longer is worried about, focused on what other people are gossiping about her, whether or not they approve of her. We're not seeking approval. We're no longer worried about, am I fitting in? Do I have to change myself to fit in? Instead, we're looking at talking about like fit. Is this where I need to be? Not, do I have to make myself fit here because I want to belong in this group and I need this group or friendship or church or whatever it is, even family. It is a sense of, I know I am so centered and have such a strong foundation. And for me, that's in Christ, that the rest of it, it's just fluff. Now, of course, that doesn't mean we don't get our feelings hurt and things like that, but those are temporary. We are not driven by any of that. We are not looking to show up a certain way or be a certain way. We are who God has created us to be. And this is a journey. This is not an end point. It is a journey. We are never done in this realm. We're not done. So there's always more. The key being undivided. Use that term specifically because your inner world and your outer world match. You're not divided between the two. We're not hiding something in here and wearing the mask. Oh my gosh, how many Christian women, really all women, but I'm focused on Christian women, say, I'm fine, right? And we're not fine. We're not fine. We're not fine. Now, that doesn't mean you have to share everything with everyone you come across. It does mean, though, think about the mask that you're putting on and why are you putting that on? Do you need the other person to believe that you're fine?
And if I can jump in, you mentioned the word I'm fine. Again, it might just be me. So why do so many women, I'll say women in this case, you're talking about women, why do they say I'm fine when deep down inside they're not fine, they may be hurt? Now, again, I'm not having a counseling session here, but I'm just curious, do the best you can to kind of explain why do some women do that when they're not really fine at all?
Well, in general, women are trained to be quiet, to be compliant, to not make waves, and to be the caretaker. So when you ask a woman, now this is very generalized, if you ask a woman, how is she doing? that doesn't come from that goes through a bunch of filters, and she's not hearing, oh, this person cares about me. She's hearing, what do I have to do for this to be okay? For both of us to be okay. Oh, all right. I can't really tell them what I'm thinking, because the whole concept of somebody caring about me, I don't get that concept so much. I have to be the one that take care of things. I don't want to hurt the person's feeling. I don't want to be a burden. I don't wanna. And it's sad but true that even now we still are more socialized to be the caretakers, to be quiet, to not create problems. We're not generally the ones who hold the control or the power or the influence. Now, of course, that doesn't hold in every single situation and in all time, but it's very important to recognize. So part of what I'm doing is fighting against, and I'm going to use the word fighting. It's a war in a sense. Like, we are just as important as any other person. We have just as much to offer, and there's nothing in the Bible that says anything contradictory to that.
I love that. And, in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get Sherry to talk about who she is and her backstory. I know some of you've already read her bio, you know who she is, and that's why you're here. And others of you, you're really meeting her for the very first time. You have no idea who she is, and that's fine. She's going to get to her backstory in a moment. But before she does that, I'm curious, how can a woman set healthy boundaries without feeling guilty or worrying about the people they may leave behind? And the reason I say that, if I can, in about 30 seconds, let me frame it for you, is that a good part of our audience that are watching now, a lot of them are dualpreneurs. And they're like, Shay, all that sounds good, but can you let her know I work a full-time job and I'm a full-time entrepreneur? Someone else is saying, Shay, can you let her know as well that I'm a wife, or I'm in a relationship, or someone's like Shay Brown. They're like, I'm a caregiver. Let her know I got to care for other people. And someone else saying, wait, Shay, tell her I got kids. Okay. And my kids have a schedule and all the stuff she's sounds great. And Shay, I'm involved in my community. And so I guess the question is, for the person out there say, I got all this going on, how can they truly take care of themselves? Again, this is a loaded question, but ladies and gentlemen, I can ask any question I want. How can they take care of themselves without feeling, I want to use the word guilty, I don't know if that's right or not, but how can they do that? Or is that even possible?
So I'm going to reframe the question.
Sure.
I hear what you're asking. I don't. One of the things that I don't do is I don't oversimplify. You've asked a very complex question. And what I work on when I work with my women is what's going on inside. And that's what matters. So all of the things that you mentioned, one woman could be handling that beautifully, is entirely herself through all of that. But another woman, because you mentioned a lot of externals, another woman is struggling like crazy. And the difference is what's inside. And like it or not, much of that comes from how we're wired early in life. I just did a post on Facebook. I haven't put it out anywhere else yet. I just did a post, and I had my last post before that was on the same topic, that I, early in life, for a whole bunch of reasons that we're not going into, I really don't dig into the reasons so much. It's not important. What's important is to recognize that I carry a fear of rejection and a fear of abandonment. And that has shaped so many of my relationships throughout my entire life. And as I've done my inner work, and you only want a coach, therapist, or anyone else who's helping you who's done their own inner work and is continually doing that, that fear has gotten less and less and less. It still exists. And it popped up just the other day. A very simple thing. I was thinking about unsubscribing from a entrepreneur friend's business email list. And I had these messages in my head go off saying, well, if you unsubscribe, you're not going to hear when she offers a conference that maybe you could be a speaker, where you could be a speaker. You're not going to find out about it. That's the fear of rejection and abandonment. That's the fear of I have to keep on top of it or else I won't be noticed because nobody's going to think of me. I have to do all the work to continually prove myself. And that's why I'm talking about it's a fear of rejection, because somewhere along the way, and it would be very early, I learned, accurately or not, it doesn't matter. This is what my nervous system, my brain took in, that I have to perform in order to be acceptable. And that's the key to everything that you listed, Shay. Does the woman believe that she has to perform and prove herself over and over and look a certain way and handle things a certain way to be acceptable, to belong?
That's a perfect segue. Thanks. I love the transparency. I love the example that you used as well. I think it's a good time for us to slow down for a minute, then we'll speed back up. And for those folks who are cooking in the kitchen right now, thanks for joining, by the way. For someone who's maybe at the gym listening right now, or maybe you're at the office and you're just listening in, or if we're on your big screen TV, hey, thanks for watching. Can we slow down and take a moment? And the question is, who is Sherry? So there's two parts. What's the backstory so they know who you are? And they're probably always curious, what was that defining moment that you said, you know what? I'm born to do this. I'm going down the path of helping women really not only take care of themselves, but live the life they want. So two-part question. Who are you? And what's the backstory that led you to doing what you're doing now and being so passionate about it?
Absolutely. I love sharing my backstory. I was born into an alcoholic family. My dad was an alcoholic. I'm the eldest, firstborn, eldest girl. I got tons of responsibility put on me early, as we tend to do. However, that that moves you from child to adult very fast, except that you still have an adult brain. I mean, excuse me, you still have a child brain. You still have child ways of seeing things and doing things. So for me, that led me to be like my mom's best friend. I was well, she was my best friend, mommy's little helper, except that doesn't help Sherry figure out who Sherry is. I never had a sense of who I was growing up. I never had a sense of what I could do or what I was good at. If I didn't get grades, I wouldn't even know what I was good at. I didn't have a sense of even how to take care of myself. So when I graduated from high school, I did very well in school. Grades, of course, perfectionism going on in there, have to look a certain way. And that also comes from growing up in an alcoholic family or any family with any kind of addiction. You learn, you don't talk about the family, put on the mask because everything has to look good out there. We don't want to let anybody know what's going on. So I learned all of that very well. I went to college right after high school. I failed out, even though I'm very, very smart and intelligent. I did great in high school. Failed out in my early 20s. So what did I do? Oh, I got married because that makes sense. Again, I didn't know who I was by myself. I didn't know how to take care of myself. A guy paid attention to me. Now, having growing up with an alcoholic father, he didn't really shower any, love. It didn't feel like it. At least that's what I took in. So the first guy that kind of paid any kind of attention to me, oh, I'm in love. Yes, let's get married. How could we not? Yes. We had a very rocky marriage. Doesn't mean it was all bad, but we had a very rocky marriage. And when I was 38 years old, I'm 65. When I was 38 years old, Christ got a hold of me. And that started my healing journey. And by healing, I mean it's a journey, still healing going on. And I don't really talk about healing as much anymore because it's just a journey. Everybody's on a journey. So you're either cooperating with your journey or you're fighting against your journey. And in that journey, I always had this sense of I don't want anyone to have to go through what I went through. I always had that sense. But one thing, I was in the IT world and I became a Christian, and Christ changed that direction and had me return to college at 48 years old to finish my bachelor's degree. I didn't have a degree. At the IT world at that time, you didn't really need a degree. They just wanted people who were really good at it, and I was really good at it. because it's taking a complex problem and it's breaking it down into certain pieces, and it's helping others what they want to have come into fruition, have it come into fruition. It's like it's a language, right? So God took those very same skills, and it's exactly the same kind of thing I did as a therapist. I became a therapist. I was a therapist for over 10 years. So I had to return to college, get my bachelor's degree, get the master's degree, get the license. I graduated with my master's degree at 52 years old. So it's kind of funny to me when I used to have clients that were, in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this, and I haven't done this, and I haven't done this. And I'm like, you're talking to the wrong person. I didn't get a degree until I was 52. So hello, and changed careers. I changed careers drastically. And that gave me the tools, the knowledge, the experience to be able to do exactly what I've always wanted to do, help other women not have to go through what I went through. Because that's what therapy coaching, a really good one, does, is kind of like compress time. So what took me 10 years, we can really compress that time down to maybe 10 months, just throwing out numbers, not saying that that's how it works. Because if you have someone who's been there, done that, and like myself, has all of the knowledge, credentials, and training behind it, it's not going to take you as long as it took me. And that's my goal. I want everyone to get to that place where they are so comfortable with themselves that somebody turning their back on you is not going to impact you to the degree where you're begging them to come back, or where you feel like you're devastated and you just don't even know how to do life without them, as an example. I'm estranged from my family of origin, my mom and my siblings. I'm estranged from them. And I didn't even actually um, initiate that. That's the word. I didn't even initiate the estrangement. My sister is the one who stepped away from me. And it all had to do with the book I wrote last year, which kind of outlined my healing principles and had stories in it. A lot of them were my stories from my childhood, from my perspective, not calling anyone out. And then there were other stories from clients. And then there was one story that was my sister and I, but I changed the names and slightly changed the story because I wasn't trying to call her out. But it wasn't so changed that the 5 people that were there when the incident happened couldn't recognize it. And my sister was one of them. She didn't like how she was treated in the story. And so she chose to never speak to me again at this point. And she didn't even tell me that. I heard that from other family members. And and so at this point, it's when I went through that estrangement that it really became clear to me, look what look what can be done when you are in a situation where people are not healthy for you. They're not healthy for me. Doesn't mean I don't love them. I love them immensely. It would burst my heart with joy if the situation changed, and maybe it will. I can only do my part, though. I'm not going to beg anyone to return. I'm not going to like throw out my book. I'm not going to, you know, even remove the story. I'm just not going to do that because none of those are the point. Is when you get to the point of recognizing that kind of stuff, just using this as an example, because there's lots of other different reasons why uh, people may step away from relationships, but you get to the point where a story in a book that doesn't even use your name is so upsetting that you can't even speak to me for, at this point it's been over a year. I don't know what to do with that. I'm like, that's not a relationship. If it was a friend, if you take away that this was my mom and my siblings, if you take that out of there and you insert friend and partner, nobody would question that we stepped away from each other. Nobody would question it. It's because it's sibling and it's mom that suddenly that becomes this big, huge issue, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't. If they're not healthy for you, they're not healthy for you. And you do your part. I reach out to them. birthdays, holidays, every now and then, letting them know I'm thinking of them, love you, I'm always here. That's my part. Not doing anything beyond that. If they reach back and want something more, I'm very happy to consider that. But that is not going to break me, if you will. That is not going to, it's just not, because my foundation is not in my family. My foundation is in Christ. And that doesn't change. That doesn't change. I'm still who I am.
I love it.
I kind of went off on a tangent there. So,
No, you're very passionate about it. A couple of things. One, congratulations going back to school and getting started again shows the inspiration. And as you were talking, how passionate you are about the book, how passionate you are about what you do now. The question I have is, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing now? Because you're doing it. I mean, yes, the situation might be with your mom and your sister, but you're changing lives. You're making a difference for other folks every day. You're here showing up now and being authentic. You're speaking from the heart. My question is, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing now?
it is there are no real words to describe how fulfilling it is when you have a client tell you how much their life has changed, how how much you've touched their heart, how big a difference you've made in their day to day. Because we are with ourselves all the time, right? We're with ourselves all the time. And how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to God, that is going to be reflected in how we relate to others and what the quality of those relationships and what those relationships mean to us. And so working here and working on that makes all the difference, all the difference. And to hear that reflected back, I have a client say, I heard your voice in my head the other day. It's a wonderful feeling. It's wonderful. It's amazing. And I give credit to God all over the place. I give credit to God. It's God doing that. I just happen to be a particular vessel, the conduit at that point. That,
Yeah, I
there's
love
just
that.
no, yeah.
No, it's well said. And one of the questions I like to ask, and we have a few minutes, and we have a few minutes now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice maybe you've ever been given, and you want to pass on to the audience? And I'll frame it so the audience is aware. You read more books you can probably remember these days, right? You probably had a lot of mentors along this journey of life, and we watch so many videos these days. I mean, even 10,000 hours, and we can do that on the weekend, scrolling with our thumb. But if you had
Yeah.
to step back and say, you know what, Shay, I've been given a lot of advice. I've learned a lot in all these years, but here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given that I want to share with the audience. What is it and why?
So, per normal, I'm going to answer it a little bit differently. It wasn't actually advice given to me, but it was an experience that has meant the world to me. And that is, and you mentioned it, have mentors. I have been blessed with spiritual mentors, emotional mentors, guides, whatever you want to call them. That has made the biggest difference. The biggest difference, because we are not built to do any of this alone. None of it. We need someone in our corner. We need someone present with us. God Himself is more than one person. We are built for relationships. So the more we try to do all these things, juggle all of this, figure it all out by ourselves, that used to be me, the more of a mess we make, the more we're overwhelmed, the more we're prone to anxiety and depression, and the more we end up getting stuck. We need mentors. We need guides. Find that person or people. I tell that to all of my clients too. Like, find that person that will walk with you every single moment of the day. That's a little exaggeration, but it's close. If you're a parent, a mom, we're talking about women. If you're a mom, have a mom mentor, someone who is older and been there, done that. Particularly if you're parenting a teen or special needs or in any way that it's more complicated now, you need a mentor. You aren't supposed to figure it out all on your own. If you're, like you said, Shay, earlier, you're balancing the 9 to 5 and you're doing entrepreneur, you need a mentor. Don't figure it all out on your own, because guess what? You can't. And it'll take 20 times longer, and you'll have lots of trial and error that you could have skipped altogether. Get that mentor. That is the strongest piece of advice, and I do share that with everyone.
Get that mentor. I love it. When you're not out saving the world, you're not counseling other folks, you're not out making a difference like you're doing right now. What do you do for fun? What does fun look like for you?
I have 2 dogs whom I adore. They are my office mates. I'd like to say they contributed. They contribute in keeping me joyful and calm, because they are so wonderful when they're not really irritating me. But they don't contribute financially. I keep telling them, why do I have to do all the work? Get to work. And it doesn't seem to matter. And I love being outdoors. I am in Tucson, Arizona, and just about every day is gorgeous. Yeah, it can be hot, but it's still gorgeous. And we have the best sunsets. I will put them up against just about anybody else's sunsets. Now, the sunrise might be nice too. I'm not up for those.
I love it. I love it. So I love the humor. As we come down the home stretch, a 2-part question. Number 1, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if you're taking on clients. And number 2, how can folks best connect with you? They're watching now. They like what they hear. Like, man, I want to reach out to her. I want to connect with her. Is there a website? Like, what should they do?
So I love those questions. I'm most on Facebook as far as social media goes. And so that's probably the easiest place to connect with me, is on Facebook. If you'd rather not do it that way, or you're not on Facebook, you are always welcome. My email is sherry@coachsherry.com. Email me. I'd love that. I'll respond. And it's me who will respond. And I already forget your other questions.
Remember, that was it. What type of clients you're looking to work for? Are you looking to work with professionals? Or what type of clients you looking to work with these days?
Most my clients tend to, if they have kids at home still, they're teens, not littles. And because that is a slightly different lifestyle than what my methods are best for. So 40 plus women who are generally 40 years old and older, you can be an entrepreneur or not. That doesn't matter. It really matters that you are willing to do the work. You're willing to take accountability for what is yours, and you're willing to learn what is not yours to be held accountable for, and learn to let that go. And I'll walk you through all of it and so much more, because I love to go deep. That's where you find true change, is you've got to change what is feeding all of that, whether it's fears or anxieties or the way you make decisions or whatever it is. There's stuff feeding that. We got to get to that. And that's what I love to do and specialize in. And I do come from a Christian perspective. You don't have to be a Christian. You'd probably be more comfortable if you are a Christian, or at least open to hearing that. Not that I don't evangelize or proselytize, but I am going to talk about Christ.
I love it. I'm a Christian as well. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for serving. I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we wouldn't have a show, by the way. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate you. And catch us at our next episode. God bless, and keep doing God's work. Everybody, we out of here. Peace. Talk to you later, Sherry. Bye-bye, everyone.